The snow has fallen here in Toronto. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see outside, we got our first snowfall here in Toronto. And unfortunately, that also means we got our first dumping of salt and brine on the roads as well. And sadly, if you've been watching the videos on the S13, you will know that I have been trying to get this car done and was hoping to get it tuned, which also includes having to drive it around and break in the engine since it is a newly built engine. And with the salt and brine laid, that unfortunately is not going to happen. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to keep working on this car. I'm going to keep working on it so that it is ready for spring, and hopefully I'll be moving on to other projects in the shop. Next is going to be the KAT FC. But in today's video, we are going to do something a little bit different, and we are going to do some vapor honing stuff. So let's do it. I'm going to show you guys, this is the front cover that we are going to be vapor honing. This is off of my friend Miguel's NC Miata. And yeah, he's had that car out of commission, or not out of commission, he hasn't been driving it for a couple years, and he's finally decided to start working on it. So he wanted to get this vapor honed because he had seen a bunch of the vapor honing stuff that I've done. So for example, this is all the KA stuff for the KAT FC. And you can see this throttle body has been done, 2 starters, this power steering pump, and even the alternator casing. And obviously the front cover and even the water neck for the engine. But yeah, so he just wanted to get this cleaned up so that it'll be nice and fresh for when he wants to put it back on the car. I don't know if he actually has a channel too. I don't know if he's filming content on the NC Miata, but I'm gonna put his channel in the description down below. And maybe some of you guys, if you're interested in NC Miata stuff, you should go over to his channel and bully him into filming his car stuff, because why not do it for fun, and maybe he'll have a interesting video for you guys to watch or something like that. But yeah, so basically we are going to be cleaning up this cover in the vapor honing cabinet, and it's honestly not bad. This is typical inside from an engine running. It's going to have stains like this from oil and carbon and all that stuff, but we should be able to get that cleaned up pretty nicely. And then this is typical for Canadian climate cars. You can see a lot of corrosion buildup all over here. I think he tried to clean this a little bit. You can see scratches from like a wire wheel or something. But you guys are going to see how big of a transformation this will be once we vapor hone it. But yeah, so without any delay, let's just jump right into this and start vapor honing this. And you guys can follow along because I'll set up a camera so you can just see the view inside the cabinet. And I don't know if I've ever explained this before. I feel like I would have. But all this really is it's essentially the same as a sandblasting cabinet, except it uses water combined with the blasting media. And water and the blasting media combined is actually what gives us a really nice, almost shiny aluminum finish versus sandblasting will just give you a bright, matte, kind of silver finish to it. But yeah, enough rambling. Let's get this part in the cabinet and start transforming it. All right, so this part has already been degreased prior. That's one thing I always try to do, is to ensure parts are degreased prior to vapor honing. It just helps keep the water in the cabinet stay cleaner for longer. So that's something that the customer can do prior to bringing it to us, or that's something we can take care of as well. So you can see here areas that have built up corrosion, and that's pretty normal for Canadian climate. On the backside, you can see this yellow-brown tint. This is pretty common to see on engine parts. It's just been stained by dirty engine oil. Now, one of the great things about the vapor honing process is it doesn't clean just using pressure. So I'm just starting at 40 psi here. And as I mentioned, vapor honing is, to simply put, it's wet media blasting. So we are using water, and the media in this case is glass bead. In the industry, they call that the slurry. So you can see it's cleaning the backside of this part pretty quickly. And one of the main benefits of this is using the water as lubricant. Using water helps the media flow over the part, and that makes this process less abrasive. That's how blasting engine components can be done safely. Typically, you wouldn't sandblast the inside of engine parts like this, or pistons or gears, because without water as a cushioning barrier, dry blasting, you can dramatically alter the base material of the part. Whereas with vapor honing, it doesn't. It's a rather gentle yet effective cleaning process. Now, if you've ever had parts sandblasted, I'm sure you will have noticed that the parts end up feeling very rough or porous, which is the point of sandblasting, because typically you sandblast parts that will be painted or powder coated. So you want to create a surface that will allow paint or powder coat to adhere easily to. And that is exactly why, if you've ever sandblasted, say, a intake manifold, the part looks bright and silver, but that first moment you get grease or dirt on it, it's instantly dirty and ugly again. That is because sandblasting or dry blasting typically opens up the metal surface to be porous, which means it will hold dirt and grime easier. The beauty of vapor honing is that vapor honing actually micro polishes the surface, essentially closing up or smoothing the surface. So if you've ever had a part vapor honed and gotten it dirty again, you'll notice that it can easily be wiped clean and stays clean. So we're just going through blasting the backside of this cover to get all the oil stains off. The tricky thing is making sure to blast the part from all different angles. That way nothing is missed. The more intricate the part is, the more surfaces and angles it has, the longer it takes to get into everything. But it's definitely doable because the water helps bring that media everywhere. But yeah, that's pretty much the process here. So we can speed this up and see how the backside of this cover turns out. So after some brief time on the backside, we can see how nicely this cover is coming along. Rinsing it off and exposing, there's a few more spots to hit, but we'll make quick work of that and move on to the front side. And now we can take a closer look just to see how the backside of this cover is going. And it seems to be going pretty well. It looks almost complete. It's definitely a big difference compared to before. A lot of the yellow and brown stains or tinting is gone, and it's looking very nice and bright silver. But I will end up touching this up some more. You can never be too thorough, so just looking for areas that I may have missed, rinsing the part off so I can see clearly, and hitting any areas that need some more attention. Alright, so another rinse and rinsing off the part, and I can inspect more clearly how the backside's looking, and I can keep moving on. So take note here, I'm going to blast the top part of this cover now, and you can clearly see the outline of essentially the exposed areas of this cover where it meets the head. So make note of all those dark spots around the top side of this cover and take a look once I'm done here. Alright, so now a quick little rinse off the window, and we can take a closer look at this part. So take a look at this top part of the cover and compare it to how it was before, and how that distinct outline is completely gone. But now we can move on to the front of the cover. So this cover has quite a bit of corrosion built up in certain areas, which is normal. In Canadian climate, even if you don't drive the car in the winter, corrosion will build on aluminum parts no matter what. Whether it is just from getting wet, maybe you washed the engine bay and you didn't dry it fully and the car was just sitting, it happens. It's unavoidable. So when you have your engine apart, like my friend Miguel here, it's nice to take the time and effort to get parts cleaned up again and essentially refreshed, just so you can have a fresh starting point. So now we're addressing the front side of the cover, and I'm still blasting this part at 40 psi. I haven't changed it, but I'm realizing now the front with the corrosion definitely needs a little more kick to it. So I am bumping up the air pressure to 60 psi with the help of the regulator that I have hooked up in between the airline and the vapor honing cabinet. So we can go ahead and continue on with the front side of the cover. Now the process on the front side is basically the same as the back. We just have to focus on blasting sections at a time. If it is different angles and different surfaces, I have to ensure that I am mindfully blasting every surface just to make sure I don't miss anything. And that's pretty much it. So we can speed through this and take a look at how things turn out. And after a bit of time, we are on to the rewarding part, and that is rinsing everything down and taking a look at whether or not we've missed anything on this part. Double checking that the camera's still recording here and the screen turned on, so it was still recording. And I just continue rinsing everything down. So basically what I end up doing is when I think that I am pretty much done with this part, I will rinse the entire cabinet down to make sure I get pretty much all the media back down into the base of the cabinet, because I'm going to start rinsing the part and I don't want to rinse the part and have it come in contact with media that's just sitting on top of the mesh here or something like that. So I rinse everything down thoroughly and then I can start rinsing the part, because the last thing you want is media in your engine parts. If you know that's a big no-no. Now with the cabinet rinsed down, I can start rinsing the part down. And you can never be too thorough at this step. You can never rinse it enough, actually. So I usually spend quite a bit of time rinsing out every hole. If they're threaded holes, I spend time rinsing those out. I even try to spray into them upside down if they're a threaded closed hole. And yeah, like I said, you can just never be too safe in the rinsing process. Usually after I've rinsed the part thoroughly in the cabinet, I will end up rinsing it in the sink that I have in the shop as well, just to make sure I get all and any media that is possibly on this part gone. And after I've rinsed everything, then I will end up rinsing some more. And if that hasn't become clear, rinse, 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 and even more rinsing. You can never rinse parts enough after you've blasted them. The good thing about the vapor honing is because it's wet blasting, the media doesn't pile up nearly as bad in areas compared to dry blasting. So again, like I said, thoroughly rinsing everything out over and over again. You can never be too safe. Once I have, then I will dry it all off with some compressed air. So we can pull this part out of this cabinet, get it dried off after we've rinsed it a million times more, and we can take a look at the results. And this is what we are left with. What do you guys think of the results here? So I don't know if you can remember what the backside and the front side looked like. I'm sure you do. But the backside was fully oil stained, and now it is bright and clean, and the outside had a lot of corrosion on it. And now all the corrosion is gone. And I would say it is a nice, this is the sheen that I was talking about before. So if you see, as I move this part around, you can kind of see it has a little bit of shininess to it. It's not quite just like a bright silver. It actually has like reflection to it. And that is because, like I mentioned, that is because of the water and the media mixed together. That is essentially almost micro polishing the part. So what do you guys think of this part? Obviously it's not brand new if you get up real close. So what you're seeing here is actually the pitting from corrosion. And sadly, because we are in Canada, even if it's a car that is not driven in the winter, sadly the aluminum parts will face this kind of corrosion and have this kind of problem. But I think this is pretty good considering, and it's definitely 10 times better than putting the part back on the car, especially if you've gone to this extent already and you have the engine or whatever, your engine bay, whatever parts taken apart already. Why put them back together dirty? You might as well get them cleaned and put it back together clean. So yeah, that's why I like vapor honing so much. I pretty much do it to, you probably saw videos in the past where I did blow-off valves. So this is another Greddy type S blow-off valve that I got. This one is a black top, which I feel like is pretty rare. I only had one black top, and I think I have 2 or 3 of the purple tops. So I definitely had to snag this when I saw this on Facebook Marketplace. But yeah, vapor honing is something I do to all the blow-off valves that I get, because it goes from looking like this to looking like this. So you can see a lot of the detail, everything's clean, even stuff like this. So here's one thing to note. So if you look right here, you can still see the marking here. Whereas sometimes if you're sandblasting, especially if you're using a very abrasive media sandblasting, you can actually get rid of things like this. And that's because it's obviously changing the base material of the part. And the reason why I like vapor honing so much is because you don't really do that. So you can actually vapor hone parts like pistons, gears, whatever, and it will not change that base material. Meaning, if you have tight clearances for something, you don't have to worry about messing up those clearances. Whereas sandblasting, if you are not careful blasting, and depending on what kind of media you're using, you can actually change that base material and ruin a part, actually, if you're not careful. So that's why vapor honing is such a great thing, or at least that's why I think vapor honing is such a great thing. And I try to blast all my parts whenever I get the chance. And you guys saw that with the S13, and you'll see it with the KAT-FC and even this S14. If I do any project, any car, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna vapor hone the parts just because it doesn't make sense not to. These cars are getting older and we want to keep them around for a very long time. So basically, we're restoring these cars. And if you're gonna do a restoration, why would you just parts cleaner a part or wire wheel it and throw it back on? I think just take the extra step and get things vapor honed, and you'll definitely be satisfied. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I know it was a short one, and I know it wasn't working on the S13, but next video, for sure, we're gonna get back to the S13. We do have the valve cover and catch can to install and a bunch of little things to try to get that car done. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found this vapor honing stuff informative. And if you are in the Toronto area and you are looking for this service, DM us on the AccuTire Instagram page or our website, or email us. Get in touch with us. We can help you with your parts and get everything looking great to restore whatever vehicle it is that you're working on. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video.